can access this later. So welcome. We're going to go ahead and get going on our presentation today about technology for new families. All right. We're going to be looking at, just make sure I got the right thing. So we're going to be looking at a few different things here. You'll have the same logon for your SIS Parent View as you do for Schoology. SIS Parent View is where you'll find all the important things for your students, such as their class schedule, their attendance, and there's a new feature this year where you can enter in when a child might be absent in advance. You can enter in, or you can look at their grade book, and this will be the official grade book where you see how your student's doing in their class. You can also see progress reports, the student course history, and all kinds of different things in there. Schoology is more like for school. So this is where you'll find upcoming assignments. This is where you'll see what's important and what's going on in the classroom. You may see those things posted as Google files. And so Fairfax County has its own Google Suite for Education. And those are all in a secure and closed, we call it a walled garden environment. And that means, unfortunately, you won't be able to see it because there's not a parent view account for those Google. The reason for that is because we don't want this we don't want your students' information to be shared throughout the great wide internet. And so if you want to see that the Google information that your students are seeing, you can ask them to show you. You can ask them for the password or for them to log in at home, but there is no parent account available for that. And we'll talk more about that a little later on. So we're going to start with SIS Parent View because that's arguably the most important one. So this is where you can see all the it's called the Student Information System. So think of SIS as your place for important information that is specific to your child. So here you're going to find their class schedule, like I said, your attendance, the grade book, their course history, any kind of testing history that they may have. So when you take your standards of learning tests in 9th grade, that information will be available in SIS. They also have a mobile app available. So we've included some help links here. I'm going to walk you guys through what it looks like from your end. And if you don't have a SIS Parent View account, please email me on the email provided at the beginning of this presentation. And I will also type that in the chat, and I can get you access to that after this presentation. All right. So these are some helpful links that you guys can use in order to access SIS. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you are looking at your child's SIS, there's a little drop down, and at this drop down you can see multiple students. So if you have a child at Cooper, or you even have a child at Great Falls Elementary School, you can see information for them here and toggle between the students. When you're on the home screen, you'll see the recent history, so new assignments that have been entered in. And so this is an account of somebody who attends a different school, and so you can see it's all blurred out. But you'll be able to see the recent history of what one child has and what your other child may have there as well. When you go, so the side menu here is your friend. It'll tell you what you're looking at and where. So when you go to Gradebook, you can see the specific grades for your child if they're missing any assignments. So this child would be missing an assignment in Spanish. So if you're like, what is this assignment? One, you can click in and see where that is once you click on Spanish 3 and 3rd quarter. And if you have additional questions, you can email the teacher by clicking on the little envelope. You can click on the change quarter to see previous performance. We're in 1st quarter, so you're not going to see previous performance because that doesn't exist. But later on in the school year, if you're like, how did my child do 1st quarter in Algebra 2? Then you can go back and look at this. If you want to monitor your child's attendance in SIS, you go to the Attendance tab. And so you can see here that if they've got an X, that means that they were unexcused on that day. So that's something you may wish to look into. You've also got things for excused. If there's a little no symbol, that means that there was no school on that day, so no attendance was taken. They also have it by course, so you can see how many courses or where a child is missing some courses. So perhaps if you're noticing that, they're missing a whole lot of AP English lit, perhaps you don't want to schedule a doctor's appointment during that when possible, or something along those lines. There's also a new procedure this year where parents can enter in attendance. So if you know that on September 25th, your child is going to be absent, you can enter that in. I do not have screenshots of this because this is a brand new feature, but they're in the support links. I did provide how to do that. So you have SIS and you have Schoology, and those are the two big things you'll be monitoring when it comes to your child's academic progress and how they're doing in school. So SIS is where the gradebook and attendance, so that's where the information is held. So SIS is student information. Schoology is for school. So this is where like the real world, what your child is doing every day in class, that's going to be held. So it's pronounced Schoology. And so this is where you can do some learning, collaboration, those kind of things, and really see what what the teachers are doing. In Schoology, you can access your child's classes, you can see descriptions of upcoming assignments, view some announcements about those things. We also, if your child is a junior or a senior, you'll see a lot of information being posted through their class of course. So that'll give them information about upcoming events that are critical for juniors and seniors. Freshmen and sophomores just don't have as many of those. Senior class especially has a ton, but freshmen and sophomores not so much. And you can also find important information in the all students and the all school pages. So here are some Schoology help links. You log into Schoology with the same email and password that you use for SIS. So when you are in Schoology, you can go, you'll see the parent name up here. And so you can see different courses for your child and also an all parents course, but you probably want to view it as your child. So when you go up to the upper right corner, you'll see your name, and then you can look at where your child is. If you have two children and you only see one child, don't click add child, email me and we'll get that sorted out, because that's probably a SIS error. And that's how we can make sure that that's correct. So here you can view student activity. So you can see what's going on in your students' classes in a variety of ways. So you can see posts and updates. So here's an update which explains kind of what this looks like for your child. You can also see in the enrollment screen, they have grades. Some teachers use Schoology for grading, some teachers don't. But if you're interested in grades, go to SIS. SIS will include everything. This Schoology grade might have nothing to do with what your child's actual grade is, because they may be turning things in Schoology and on paper, and Schoology won't have both those grades. You can also see groups your child is in. So if your child is a member of a group for a certain club, they may be disseminating information through the groups feature. So here's an example of what these should look like at Langley High School. We have teachers that every teacher has a Start Here folder, and that'll include information such as how this course is organized, if there's any additional things that they may need. So this is photography, so maybe there's an art supply that they may need. You'll also see often the syllabus and any other additional information there. Your folders should be organized with dates on the outside. So we've asked all teachers to organize their folders either by weeks. So you can see this teacher uses week 1, week 2. Some teachers use units, and so they might say unit 1, and then they'll always have the date on the outside to help you understand what your child is working on right now. You can also see in upcoming what assignments are coming up and what tests. We've asked teachers to put tests in there, but you may also see them in the weekly folders. These are going to be kind of the most important places that you'll live is materials, upcoming, and you may also wish to look at updates. Teachers like to post information in there as well. So in the upper corner, you'll see courses. So you click on courses, and then you can find the course you wish to visit. If you don't see all of your child's courses, sometimes if a child moves classes, it won't show up as a big old list or in the big old thing of pictures that you see for Schoology. You may have to click on a separate button that says My Courses, but I assure you that if the course is in SIS, it is also in Schoology. There's also a grade report. Like I said, this is not going to be the most accurate grade for your child. Look at SIS. So while there may be some graded assignments in there, SIS is where their real grades live. These directions, if you use the iOS or the Android app, when you're trying to use for Schoology, it's a great app. But where parents get tripped up is they're trying to find Langley High School and join through that. You actually want to join through Fairfax County Public Schools. So if you're using the app and going to find your school or domain, your school or domain is Fairfax County Public Schools. Then when you go, you can enter in your username and password. That is the same thing you use to log into SIS Parent View, and then you'll be able to see all the neat stuff in there. All right, so I know I've given you guys a lot so far. We're going to kind of go through a few smaller platforms and things that you need to know less about here, and then I can answer some questions for you. So Google Workspace, teachers and students use Google Workspace for Education to share things like Google Docs in there. Sometimes you'll use a Google Sheet or other information like that. And to protect student privacy and data, you won't be able to see that. We do have a page linked from Fairfax County Public Schools that explains this in more detail. But like I said, you can always ask your student to see that information if you so wish. Every year, Fairfax County uses a lot of resources to support student learning. Some of those resources that your child may use require parental consent. A lot of this is for data purposes, and Fairfax County has a very rigorous process when it comes to data and how your child's information is being held. So please know that while the digital consent is kind of a legal requirement, we are not going to put anything on there that students may be asked to use that hasn't been vetted a 1,000 different degrees. So please know that we're trying to make sure that your child's digital safety is of the utmost importance. But if you want your child to be using digital resources in their classes, you do have to provide that consent. And you'll do that through this FCPS website. Especially for if you want your child to be able to see YouTube, which doesn't sound like something you should be doing in class, but it's actually really helpful for explaining certain things. Some teachers make brief videos of their instruction and what they're doing in class, and that's really helpful for kids. So in order to access that, they do need your parental consent. Whew. Naviance may be of particular interest to you if you have a child in either junior and senior year. And this is to help you with an academic and career plan. Your login will be through Schoology, and I believe we got a screenshot on the next page. If not, I can show you. So parents and guardians can log in there to see information about academic and post-secondary plans. And there's also lots of different scholarship opportunities and other things available through that. This is also where your child will log in volunteer hours. And so this is visible to parents. So if you have a child in those upper grades, it may be of interest for you to check out. So login and other information is located here. It's also translated into a lot of different languages, which is lovely if English is not your first language. Every student in Fairfax County can check out a Chromebook laptop for school use. Your child would picked up a Chromebook in English class on the first 2 days of school. If they have a personal laptop and they use that at school, they don't need a Chromebook, but they're offered to everyone. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know, but every child should have access to a school Chromebook. If your child needs additional support, there is a free service through Fairfax County called Varsity Tutors. Students can log in through a button called Clever in Schoology, and I can show you where Clever is because it's also where Naviance is. And then they have some steps to follow, but this is a great way for students to get academic support without paying for it. And especially in certain areas where they might not need a permanent tutor, but they might need help getting through this certain part of geometry class. So it's a great and free support you can access. Something that I don't personally support, like when I say support, I mean, I can't help you with this one, but it's an important thing for you to know as a new parent is My School Bucks. My School Bucks is where you pay for all kinds of parking of things such as parking passes. If you are in an extracurricular activity and you need to pay for, say, a uniform, if your child loses their laptop charger and needs a replacement, all those things can be paid for on My School Bucks. Homecoming is coming up next week, and if your child wants to go to the dance, you buy the tickets through My School Bucks. And so I can't help you with the login and things there, but there's a lot of information located online for you to log in and know what's going on and how to support your kid there. There are translation services, so every Fairfax County website can translate into Spanish, Korean, Chinese, Arabic, and Vietnamese, and more languages are to come. If English again is not your first language, teachers can also contact you using Talking Points. That's a free service which will text or email you, translated from English into the home language that you select. And then if you write back in your home language, it'll translate that back to the teacher. So it's a lovely way to be able to communicate in a way that makes you most comfortable without without having to call in a translator. Finally, if you are really stuck and you need help, you should go to either this website that's linked, which will allow you to put in a support ticket, or call the number above, which is 833-921-FCPS to put in a tech support request. Please don't call or email the school, as you can get somebody right away if you call the phone number. But if you email me and say I'm out, or if you call the school and the tech support person is not in the room, there's a person specifically designed to fix laptops, certain passwords, things of that nature. It may be a lot harder for you to reach us. So please call those phone numbers. If it's something we can help with, they'll send it to us. But it may be that with the help you need will probably be something that we'd have to kick up to them anyway. And I believe that's all I have for you guys today. So I'm happy to take questions right now. You can type them in the chat, or you can feel free to turn off your microphone and let me know if you have any questions.
I have one for you.
Yes, please.
Our son got a school laptop, but we have since bought him a personal computer because last year I felt like one of the things that tripped him up a lot was all the trouble he had with his computers and constantly turning them in. Is there anything that we can do or that we need to do for his personal laptop that allows it to act the same way a school issued laptop would in class, as far as like the teacher being able to do all? I know there were new things that came out last year where they could see what they were working on and guide them or turn things off, or just be able to control it.
Yes, and so they need to make sure that they're connected to the Fairfax County Wi-Fi, and there's a few different kinds, but the network they need to be connected to is called Fairfax, and I'm going to post a link in the chat that'll explain how to access that. And so that depends on what kind of laptop you have.
Say, what is it, Craig?
Dell.
It's a Dell.
Okay, so in that link, they'll have something for different types of laptops. So follow those directions when they're in, and have them follow them when they're in school. And that should let them connect to that. And that should allow the teacher to be able to see the thing you're talking about is called Lightspeed Classroom Management. And that's a way that teachers can see what students are working on in class. And so that should connect it to that.
Okay, so wouldn't they have to be connected to that to do their work, or no?
So some students connect to the FCPS guest by accident. So that's part of it. And then some students bring their own hotspot, which is not recommended, but some students, that's how they choose to do it. So
aha. Okay, thank you very much.
So other questions I'm seeing, can you clarify how the volunteer or internship hours can be verified through Naviance? There's a form that students fill out, and that form goes to whoever was verifying that they had done those volunteer hours. So I sponsor the Black Student Alliance here, and if students do volunteer hours through that, then they'll say, okay, I did this many hours, I did this with Dr. Fisher, and then that'll email me and I verify that, and then that'll just sit in the system. That's about as much as I know about like the nitty gritty of it, but it's a pretty easy system for verification. So somebody has, so school, you mentioned Schoology has an app. Does SIS Parent View have it? They do, and I think it's linked in the presentation, but I will try to find that for you. Right. And I'm going to copy paste that into the chat. I hear somebody else has their mic on. Okay, and I see a personal request here for about a child's Schoology account and adding a child code. So if you would send me an email at lafisher1@fcps.edu, then I can help kick that up to our SIS registration person. Any other questions? Oh. And here's the information for that SIS Parent View mobile app. Okay, if there are no additional questions, then this recording will be made available once it processes. I will post it to YouTube and send it to Ms. Zimmerman to send on. But other than that, thank you guys for coming. And
Sorry to interrupt. I
in
actually did have one question that I just posted on the chat.
Yes.
I was just wondering for YouTube, I know that in the opt-in function, it did say that it was only access to pre-approved videos.
Mhm.
But when I opted my child in, I noticed that they actually have access to everything, and being able to see what they've been accessing during the school day, it kind of looks like they've been kind of going off on tangents with a lot of videos on YouTube. Is there a restriction on that when you opt in, or is there?
There's supposed to be a restriction, so it should be that they're only allowed to visit videos approved by fcpsschools.net, which is the Gmail domain that we have for students. So they may not be logged in correctly. So I'm wondering they should only be able to view certain videos.
Okay, I'll take a look at that then. Thank you.
Oh, and if you have more questions, shoot me an email individually, and maybe I can take a look at what's going on with your kid too. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Fisher.
All right, so my email is in the chat as well as the link to today's presentation, and I'll post that one more time. And I'll send this also to Ms. Zimmerman, and she can make sure that you guys receive a copy of the presentation as well as of the video chat we've just had. So thank you all so much for coming, and if there's anything I can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.